Hello students, welcome to Gyan Niketan Girls School. In this session, I'm going to tell you the summary of the poem A Legend of the Northland by Phoebe Cary. Before I start the summary, let me introduce you to the poet Phoebe Cary. Phoebe Cary was an American poet and the younger sister of poet Alice Cary. The sisters co-published poems in 1849 and then each went on to publish volumes of her own. After their deaths in 1871, joint anthologies of the sisters' unpublished poems were also compiled. Phoebe Cary was born on September 4, 1824 in Mount Healey, Ohio. And she and her sister Alice were raised on the Clovenook farm in what is now North College Hill, Ohio. While they occasionally attended school, the sisters were often needed to work at home and so were largely self-educated. The sisters' mother died in 1835 and 2 years later their father married again. Their stepmother was unsympathetic regarding their literary aspirations. For their part, while they were ready and willing to aid to the full extent of their strength in household labor, the sisters persisted in a determination to study and write when the day's work was done. Sometimes they were refused the use of candles to the extent of their wishes. So, children, this was the struggle they did for their aspirations. Now let's come to the summary of the poem. This poem is a ballad. It's written in 16 stanzas. A poem a ballad is a song narrating a story in short stanzas. Ballads are a part of folk culture or popular culture and are passed on orally from one generation to the next. The story is set in the Northland, which is a polar region. Hence, it is very cold there as it remains covered with snow. The backdrop of the poem is Scotland, which is near the northern tip of the United Kingdom. The North Pole faces very few hours of sunlight, and hence the poet mentions that here the hours of the day are few and the nights are so long in the winter that people are unable to spend the whole night sleeping. During the snowy periods, people move on sledges which are harnessed by reindeer. The children are covered in furry woolen clothes, which make them look like bear cubs. It is here that a story went round and has been passed on from one generation to another and has become famous. Since this is a legend, it can't be taken as a true story. Yet, the poet tries to tell it like a real story. Such stories carry a message for all of us. Children, the story goes like this. It is believed that once Saint Peter was traveling and was preaching people when he felt hungry. He happened to reach an old cottage where A little woman was making cakes. Saint Peter went to the woman and asked for some cakes to eat. The little woman thought she would make a small cake for him. When the cake was baked, she felt it was too big to be given in charity, and so she decided to bake a smaller one. This process went on for some time till she made a paper thin wafer like cake for him. In fact, she was such a miser that she even kept that wafer instead of giving it to Saint Peter. She could not part with a single piece of food. When Saint Peter saw her greed, he became very angry at her. He told her that she was too selfish to dwell in human form and cursed her to become a bird and live by searching for scant food in the jungle, and that too by boring all day in the dry hard wood. After St. Peter's curse, the little woman went up through the chimney and was transformed into a woodpecker. Because she went up the chimney, her body became black and her red cap turned to a red plumage of the woodpecker. Ever since, people have been seeing her in the woods where she lives by boring the dry wood in search of food. So, children, from this whole story, we learn that we should not be selfish and should always help the needy and the hungry. Yes, children, in my next video, I'm going to discuss the question answers of the poem. So, till then, take care.